What is up, adventurers, and welcome to a brand new ShawnSetGO video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the ever-present elephant in the room in current retail WoW, and that is the fight between solo and, well, MMORPG players. And so in this, we've had a conversation, I think, in the past where I've talked about, well, the solo content and the multiplayer content, they both have valid arguments, but I think there needs to be distinct reasons between those two. But this thing keeps on coming up, keeps on creeping up to where I feel like these conversations only do to divide these two groups of people instead of making, making people realize that, the solo content should be the bridge to multiplayer content, not just solo content for the sake of being solo content. I think what Blizzard has intended with solo content is being an alternate avenue, and instead what is becoming ever more present is the solo play is becoming this place where people who are socially inept, who don't like dealing with other people, who don't feel like playing the game to a higher level, just now now that I not only prefer this, I want everybody else to accept that this is the way things should be, and this is what the game should be worked on from these aspects. We should work on this, not on everything else. Like I don't care about Mythic Plus, I don't care about rating. This is solo is the content I want to play, and it gets kind of pushy. It gets kind of pushy in other players. But if you're the kind of player who likes working on their own and likes getting the best possible gold guides out there, goldcap.com has amazing guides for you, whether that is the semi-AFK farm, or is flipping things on the auction house, or it's using the events to make your gold, or getting the best mounts or transmog gold farms. There's tons of guides on goldcap.com. You can use my code ShawnSetGO10 to get 10% off your gold cap subscription, where you can meet with some of the best gold makers in the game and join their Discord and see some of those guides that they have made exclusively for all types of WoW out there. So any type of WoW you play, retail, SOD, Cataclysm, Classic, doesn't matter. They have tons of guides available for you. But let's jump back into the video and talk about this post. It says, should I play WoW alone? The last few months I've been wanting to give WoW a try, but I haven't started because there's this guy who played WoW some years ago. I asked him if I should play WoW Classic. He said no, because I don't have any friends who play WoW. He said it's important to join a group of people you know who won't abandon you, who you can talk to and play well. I think it's like a well-meaning person who's just being honest with you. I think that if you're going to play WoW from a brand new perspective, especially Classic, there is a certain point where you'll reach this point where you go, I need to group up with people. If it's not for short term, it's gonna be for longer term, because I'm gonna want to play the end game content. Otherwise, I can't do this. Like I can't do Molten Core on my own. I can't do AQ on my own. That's just a natural occurring set of things. But the comments say otherwise. The comments say this person is awful, this person is terrible, like you shouldn't listen to them, it's a bad thing. This comment here says this is actually misleading. It depends on what you consider content. If you're happy with normal low-level dungeons and delves, then whatever. But if you're going to go to rating or M+ and you're in a guild or play tank or healer, you're going to go run into a wall pretty quickly, playing more of a queue simulator than the game itself. And he's talking specifically about retail, but a lot of people are going, hey, just do this. I play alone. I have this experience. I play alone. I love it. I play Season of Discovery on my phone while I get a spare moment. A lot of people going, this is my solo experience. I always play alone. Everyone else is just an NPC. And it's kind of perpetuating this idea that the socially inept and the people who don't want to do harder content, or they have one bad experience and all of a sudden it defines like the whole Mythic Plus experience, are now dominating the WoW space as like the main and loudest voices in the space. Now, listen, I'm no big like group player myself. I play a majority of the content I do solo. I do enjoy being in group content. I do enjoy creating guilds and creating groups. I'm not a raid leader myself, but I love doing group content. If I had the more pull, I'd create my own guild and we'd all join it and we would all just be chill, non-toxic, to kind of create positive spaces in WoW. But I promise you, I'm not the first person to come up with this kind of idea. There's tons of people in the space, and I feel like Reddit gives this idea that the entire space is toxic just because they had one bad group, or they did bad in a Mythic Plus, and all of a sudden it's everybody else's fault of why the community is all of a sudden toxic. It doesn't make any sense to me why people would treat it this way. This comment says, WoW became big in early 2000s because it was possible to play alone. Yes, okay. People forget it all the time. You can quest alone all day, and if you want in retail, you can use Dungeon Finder to find random groups and join pre-made groups. Find pickup groups for raids. It's entirely possible to play alone, and you can make a lot of friends too in it. Most people who play WoW never played a proper MMO where grouping was mandatory simply to gain XP and you lost levels and gear on death. That's why WoW got so big. It removed all the hilarious toxic design from the first gen MMOs. Listen, if we're gonna base it based off of that, like the standards for which we had to have a good MMO back then, I'm sure they weren't looking at these long-term social aspect effects. I think they were looking at the big barriers to entry, the fact that computer gaming had not taken off to that degree, and nobody had done. There wasn't a lot of like previous games in the past to kind of like baseline off of other than like EverQuest, you know. So it's like so really let's make that a reality. And then two, yes, you can play WoW Classic solo. I don't think there's a problem with that if you are knowledgeable in the game, but I think that you still need external sources. That ignores that you need external sources. And back then, we didn't have external sources to go with, so the sources were other people. Now that those external sources exist and add-ons are much more prevalent nowadays. I mean, we saw the interview with Podyssey and Ian Hazzikostas. Insane the level of add-ons and like how in-depth the overhauls are going to be and what they're going to look at. But those things didn't exist, and that's why the social aspects were important, because you didn't have, well, a lot of people use Thoughtbot, but there was other sources as well. But these are the things that made the game social, but also made the game better. So let's move on to the next one. The next one says, solo players, why do you play WoW? There seems to be a lot of content in this expansion geared more towards the solo player, and on here I see a lot of posts involving solo players. I'm just curious, why play solo over another RPG game? And so a lot of the responses here are I play an MMORPG alone. So what? Why do you have such a problem with me playing alone? Why is it such a problem that I play this game by myself? I don't know why. I think it's a thing here specifically on Reddit where people like to go as a solo player on these public spaces and victimize themselves. Whereas like everyone hates that I play this game solo. Nobody dislikes that you play the game solo. There's people who go, I wish the game was much more social like it used to be, because the game felt more alive back then. But I don't think anybody's sitting there going, you have to play solo. But it seems like all these solo players are going, you shouldn't like playing this game in multiplayer. It's toxic. It's bad. The WoW community is awful. But they're in that WoW community themselves, but they're just perpetuating this idea that things are worse than they seem. I'm not going to say that they're not, like they don't have negative aspects. There aren't bad things, but there's just so many things that I think that we're ignoring. Easy to play and lots to do. I'm just socially inept. It comes up again. It's a lot of people just saying it plain and straight, which is they don't want to interact with people socially. I get that aspect. The game has a lot more to explore than most single player RPGs, than most single player RPGs. Updated, expanded more regularly. I also have the option of doing group content if I want. 95% solo, pugging raids every so often. I like to play with friends on a rare occasion that we are playing at the same time. And see, like this is the thing as well. I think that the part that we're ignoring is that even if you're doing solo content primarily, there is a certain point where the solo content, it's not a challenge, the gear stops flowing like it should, or you've created 1,000 alts, or you simply have to do something with a group, and they're putting all of the negativity into that 5% of the they play, and the whole other 95%, they're not going, wow, this content doesn't really become challenging after a certain point. Or they're not even playing, like you can play delves in a group and it's actually a lot more fun. And then they're ignoring the whole other aspect of the other 95%, which is you're putting so much of a pedestal on that solo content, but then raiding content and party content, which made the game it's as prestigious as it is to this day, you're going, oh yeah, you know, there was one person who said that my rotations were trash. That's what makes this game bad. It's nothing else. Everything else about this game is good. Just that. Solo is so enjoyable. I've been playing since vanilla, done big raiding guild thing for a while, but don't have that kind of time. Once again, the honesty, like is it that solo content is so much better, or is it that you just don't have time? Like, so it's not the multiplayer content that's bad. It's that you don't have the time. You don't have the social skills. You don't have the gaming skills because you're older now. A lot of us who play WoW are older now. I like my analytics. Like if I were to look at my analytics and go like, but separate it by age and go through those, it's not the 17 to like early 20s age group anymore. It just simply is not. It's much higher. Mine goes in the 35 to 44 range because that's the kind of game that WoW is. And so let's be honest with ourselves about why this content is appealing to you, and not necessarily go, it's the multiplayer content's fault of why this happens. And so looking a little bit further into it, says, why do people hate solo options? Are you lonely? Whenever I see the topic of solo content come up in regards to the game, I see people ragging on others about solo content, and they talk about how cringe it is to play a multiplayer game and want to enjoy solo content like delves or doing follower dungeons. And they just insult other people who want them expanded. It's a really weird thing that it is. Why do you care about what other people do? Are you lonely or something? This is the classic, you don't pay my sub fee argument. Honestly, solo content should be expanded. It only makes sense. People in general don't want to always be forced to group with other people. For example, sometimes I just want to come home and do a dungeon without having to interact with people screaming in chat like 10-year-olds throwing a fit because they're too stupid to understand what they're doing. So this is one of those things again where are you mad at the multiplayer aspects? Are you just mad that you did a Mythic Plus and people weren't performing up to your standards? So now it's the solo player's fault without you realizing, because these are who are the people causing the issues, and the people who are inexperienced in the Mythic Plus jumping into that multiplayer content, and you don't have a guild or a group because you don't regularly play the game with other people, and so now you can't find people to reach up to the caliber of content that you want to play because you don't want to interact with other people. It's like literally someone like punching themselves in the face, like hooking themselves in the face because of content that they refuse to either enjoy actively enough to actually enjoy and experience from a non-toxic perspective, or the people they run to are toxic are the exact same people that they're claiming to be. It's a weird roundabout circle of acting, and it's, I think it's only worsened by the more avenues that we go, here's more solo content adjacent to what you're doing, but has one aspect that can improve your gear a small percentage. And that's the thing that Blizzard's been doing lately, is they create this solo content loop, which literally just gives you other ways to do the exact same type of content, maybe moderately better or some moderate form of improvement, kind of like with Horrific Visions, how we're going to get these minor enchants that's going to make everybody else better. So people who don't do the solo content are going to get something out of it. But people who've already completed solo content are only getting this small percentage, but now they have something else they can do and repeat, because there's people out there who just like repeating that content over and over and over again, whether it's for transmog, whether it's for alts, whether it's for mounts. They just do that because that solo content is that top of the barrier of what they're going to experience. So my point in all of this is to say that I don't think that there's a problem with playing the game solo. I don't want people thinking that I'm attacking you for being a solo player. Like I said, I play the game primarily solo, but I love the game as a multiplayer aspect. I love playing in groups with people I know. I love playing with guilds. Even when I'm not in a guild, like right now, I don't play in a guild myself. I play with a guild that I regularly raid with. So it's like that's how I prefer to do content. So it's something that I think that nobody has to do, but I think we need to stop this perpetuating of like solo content players victimizing themselves about like how everybody's attacking, about how Mythic Plus is this toxic space. Yes, there are bad actors in the space, but just like that, when I do delves in a group, there are people who don't know what they're doing, or they fail a delve, or they absolutely do terrible, and then zero accountability. So the opposite of this pride and like this toxicity is this zero accountability. The moment that you interact with anybody in the space, an MMO space, you're not going, hey, my bad. You're just going, it's everybody else's fault but me. All of a sudden, it's everybody else's bag. You know, it's your weight to carry now. Now it's your problem, I suppose. So let's be honest with ourselves. But hey, let me know in the comments if you're a solo player, if you're a multiplayer, what's the thing that bothers you about the other side? You know, like about the other group of players. Something that I didn't say though. Like, let's come up with original things about why. Like let's be honest. Are we just wanting this game to be a solo game now? Like, do we just want to totally remove those aspects? Or on the opposite end, do we want to kind of remove those avenues as being solo content and maybe add them as maybe co-op content, or as kind of like how delves have, like, you know, you have, instead of an NPC, you have other players. Like, do we need to remove those things? Would that make the game better? Let me know. Of course, like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to the page while you're at it. I know I said a lot of volatile things. Okay, I'm very aware of it. But hey, these posts come out day after day. Something has to be said to where, like, I feel like we're not being honest. Let's be honest with ourselves. But until next time, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.